All right, let me make sure this is live before we get started. Make sure you guys can hear us. Let's go. Yep, we are live. And this is episode 4 of the Moonwalkers Chat podcast with just Mr. P and Dove Angel D. Episode 4 is all about the episode that just aired on my YouTube channel that Dove Angel and I, we worked on for a couple of weeks. I mean, we just literally worked really hard at putting this project together. And Dove Angel, where are you?
I'm right here. Hi, guys.
Who's out there? We are here with you. We are here. There's 8 of you here with us. What's going on? I see 8 people here so far, but the only person I see is April Willis. She says it's a little choppy. I don't know why it's choppy usually when I go live, but once it airs, it's generally normal. I don't know why YouTube does that. But anyway, how's it going, April? Susan, Mare, Ebony, what's going on? Say, why your live sound like you're in water? I have no clue. I don't know, but every time we've went live, YouTube has done that where it actually sounds bubbled up, but then by the time it's uploaded, it sounds normal. I'm not sure. But anyways, hello guys. We're here. It's sending you guys here. But anyways, what did you guys think of the episode? Did you guys get to watch it? 25 minutes long of info. How bad is it? Because I've seen somebody say it was underwater. Happy Saturday, everybody. But yeah, the episode. We will get into the episode after we actually read something to you guys. Now, Dove Angel and I, and this was a good idea, but this is something that she had come up with. And I like this idea that you came up with for our podcast about, polling and asking our fellow Moonwalkers and fellow fans and viewers out there, questions and finding out what their thoughts actually are regarding certain topics. So, here are the results of our poll that we actually took on YouTube and Twitter. Okay, the poll was asking you guys, could the high demand for more This Is It tickets from fans also play a part of the concert series being bumped up from 10 shows to 50 shows? Yes, we do know that Tome and AEG and Colony Capital played a major part in it, but we were asking you guys to actually let us know if you felt, did fans play a part, or was it all on Tome and AEG and Colony Capital? Now on YouTube, and Dove, this results, I love it. There was 40 people who actually decided to vote on this one on YouTube, and 40%, well, not 40%, excuse me, 40 votes, and 62% of them said yes, fans did play a part in there being more concerts added on to the 10 concert series of This Is It. 38% says no, it was all on Tome and AEG. And I will say this, I'm still split because in the long run, I know, and Dove, you can attest to this one, as a fan, if you were able to get your hands on tickets knowing that the concert was already sold out, all 10 concerts for that matter, and of course, as a super fan, you're gonna go, "Oh, I want to see this. I wanna watch." Of course, as a super fan, you're gonna go, "Oh."
Yeah, and as our special guest told us himself, it took him 4 hours to get his hands on the ticket. Remember?
Yeah, 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours.
It's just surprising though, but the fact of the matter is that he managed to get a ticket from the first 10 shows. But after the first 10 shows did sell out, fans that knew that they could not see one of those first 10 shows did ask and push for more shows, in my opinion. Because I would have wanted to see the concerts, but I wouldn't, of course, said, you guys have to add on more shows. Please, please, please. I want to go. I want to go. I would have waited for the DVD because there would have eventually been a DVD outcome of this concert if it actually did happen.
Yeah,
So,
but it's not the same though. It's not the same thing as seeing him live on stage, even if he's itty bitty. You get what I'm saying? So I do understand, but I'm also pleasantly surprised that actually fans of MJ's are willing to admit that it was kind of a little bit of pressure from their side too. So yeah, it's a 60 little 40.
like, I was surprised though because it's kind of hard to, admit that us fans could have played a role as well. I mean, yes, we know that they also, Tome Tome and AEG also was the main factor in why this concert series happened and why certain things happened to Michael Jackson. We know that they played a major role in that. But we also had our part as well as the fans because a lot of us did want to definitely make it to those concerts, and it being in London as is, there only being 10 concerts, and that would have been the last chance period to see him. Many fans was disappointed and actually did want to try to get their hands on tickets. So the only way they could have gotten their hands on tickets was to ask for more.
Right.
And that was one thing that I honestly saw from my standpoint as a fan. I never actually didn't take accountability because in the long run as a fan, I did want to see him live. And seeing him live, like you said, would have been a different experience than waiting for the DVD to come out and you actually sit there and watch it. It's a totally different experience.
Exactly.
What's going on, everybody? I see everybody that's joining. It's 15 of you guys that are here. I'm sorry it might sound a little choppy, but we're working through that. Well, let's move on to the comments, though, that were posted with this community post on YouTube regarding the question. Like Buchisha says, I say it was all Tome and AEG because when people started to come forth and say Michael Jackson didn't look or feel, well, they could have delayed the concert dates till they found out what was going on. I have to
Personally, I don't.
download the full
Sorry.
part. I honestly forgot to open it because she wrote a lot more than that. It was a big, 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 big paragraph. Forgot to actually snip the entire thing. But we also polled the same thing on Twitter, and this is the one that... Uh-oh, here we go. YouTube is giving us issues again. I see it. YouTube has shut us down, Dove. I see it. Yeah, it says we're buffering. They said go on Instagram. I don't know why it's doing that. This happens from time to time with YouTube, but I hate it. We try our best to work with we try our best to work with YouTube, but YouTube be screwing with us a lot. You can hear me?
Yeah, Poetic says she can hear us. Do you guys hear us both?
I wonder what's going on. Yeah, it seems to be going. All right. All right, they hear us. I don't know why YouTube does that. I can't stand YouTube, but I'm not going to keep saying that to have YouTube jump down our throats and flag our podcast. We don't want to piss off the big guys. We know how they are, these elites. So
no.
We don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. No. But yeah.
Sorry, YouTube, love you.
Yes, YouTube, we love you. I didn't mean it. Don't attack us, please. Seriously. But continuing on where we left off before it kindly started buffering. This was Amalia's tweet. Excuse me. You think the demand from fans for more This Is It tickets and performances had influence on the 10 original shows being bumped up to 50, besides, of course, the greed of Tome Tome. And, of course, you can read the results of your polling. and explain.
Well, I think it's a 63 to a 36 or something I saw on the poll I did on Twitter.
67% says yes, that fans played a part, and 33 says no. AEG and Tome are the blame.
Right. So I am pleasantly surprised that, like I said before, that fans are willing to admit that, we played our part as well. And to answer the question of Suzanne Clerk, why MJ was wearing his microphone on the right side and not the way he uses on his left hand, well, Michael used both hands. So I guess he just switched it around a little bit. That doesn't mean it wasn't him. And I don't mean this in a hateful way or something. I'm just, sharing information. And of course, there was this big pressure on MJ from the fans, from AEG, from Tome, from everybody else. And I totally understand that the poor guy just felt like, oh my God, I really have to do this. And I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want to hurt anybody. So I'm just going to do these shows for the last time, and that will be it, and I will retire.
And that was definitely his original plan with the first 10 concerts until more was added on to it for him. That honestly, though, the whole concert series, I appreciated that he tried to actually give us those one final, I can't say one final because it would have been 50, but those final concerts, he actually did want to try. But there was no way for him to actually pull that off. I mean, there are singers that perform well into their 70s and can go on forever. But those singers that usually do all of that stuff generally aren't doing the type of choreography and movements that, MJ was doing. And MJ was definitely on top of his game when it came to his dancing, his movements, and everything. And fans and people do forget that he was getting older. He wasn't a spring chicken anymore. And that's, in all respect, he wasn't a spring chicken. He was getting older. We all have to get older. And that was one thing that people don't seem to realize. Like, this isn't MJ from 1987 where you expect him to have all of that same energy that he once had back then. He's a lot older now. We understand this is MJ. Yes, we get it. He's the king of pop. He's everything that we imagine him to be. But in the long run, he's a human being. And human beings, we get older. We age. Things change with our bodies as we get older. MD Love says he was also very sick. Poetic says no, he would have had problems. Fans always ask for more. I'm sure he knew we would. And I'm pretty sure he did know it. Who else is saying? We wanted tickets, but his lawyers wanting a new home, paying those people, caused the 50 dates. That's true also.
Yeah.
But who is that saying that? Oh, Angie says the hands looked odd at the O2 conference. Well, we're going to talk about whether that was him even further with Von Christ when he joins our podcast on episode 5. That's going to be something major. Now, Dove, you know that interview that we did with him? Amazing. And he gave so much insight to what went on that day on March 5th, 2009, that none of us fans can even actually imagine, because all we do from home is do our home research over the internet and speculate. But however, we got a first-hand fan account from him being there. He was there, and this is the one thing that I can say I can leak, because he's already said this publicly himself. But the day that he was there at the This Is It announcement on March 5th, he was there waiting for MJ. Him and hundreds of other fans were there for over 9 hours, waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, just waiting. It took 9 hours for MJ to actually make it to that arena. How many people can say that they actually knew how long it took for MJ to actually make it there? Only the fans who were there could actually account for that. He actually took 9 hours before he actually showed up, and not by his own account, because why? He had to deal with management and everyone else that was handling where he actually went, especially dealing with Tome Tome. And you know this one, Dove, the whole Tome Tome issue with the way he tried to control MJ and the physicality that he showed towards MJ. And I'm not saying he was abusive, but he had a bad habit of grabbing him like he was a child. And it's caught in so many photos where Tomei is grabbing him by the arm and grabbing him by the shoulder like he's escorting a child around in public, while MJ is trying to, greet his fans and speak to people out in public, even though it's maybe for a few seconds. Tomei wasn't even giving him that chance. And this is something else that, and I'm sorry, Dove, to rant.
But, no, it's okay, go on.
No, but this is something that also Fon Christ had said in one of his videos, and this is public also, that Tome Tome was also there, and Tome Tome was made available, but he gave us more information on that in our podcast too. But Tome Tome was there, and Tome Tome was watching the entire time. If you look during that speech, what do you see MJ doing when he first gets out? He keeps looking around, and then he looks to his right, which is the side of the stage that Tome Tome was on, because Tome Tome was there watching from the side of the curtains. Tome Tome was there watching him. So imagine the person that you told your spiritual and psychic advisor, June Gatlin, that you were scared of him, you were fearful of him, and you had to do your research on him and learn that he was a terrible and bad person. And to know that this is the person that has you going out on that stage. And then according to my friend's body language analysis, like, that right there said a lot too, because you can see that he was scared. It didn't even take her writing what she wrote to tell me that. You can see it all in him. That didn't have nothing to do with him being anyone else. That was definitely him, and he was scared. He was scared.
Yeah, and even though the times that Tommy didn't, actually grab him or, pulled on him and kind of steered him the way he needed MJ to be steered at that point, like he was in control of MJ. You could see in the This Is It footage, the video, you could see exactly that Michael goes back and forth, always looking behind him, because he felt Tomei's, eye burning into his back, like breathing down his neck. And poor Michael was like, oh, I really have to watch out what I say or what I do, because I could get in trouble maybe, or, this even might end even sooner than it's supposed to be, because Michael was only there like 5 to 10 minutes after people being 9 hours waiting for him, like Fon Christ told us. Not being able to go to the bathroom, get a bottle of water or something to eat, because people were afraid to lose their spot. And that's how much people love MJ, even if it was, decades before he came back. People were actually waiting for him to arrive there and welcome him and show him that we still love him. So I really think that MJ's attitude that day was kind of weird to us, because we're not used to seeing him like that. But it could all be just a factor of fear, nervousness. He was emotional as well, because you see at the very beginning of the This Is It press conference, he doesn't even know what to say because he's speechless. He doesn't know. All he can say is, I love you, because he was thankful. Well, that's my opinion, though.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. Wait, what does that say? Randy Phillips' testimony in the Conrad Murray trial stated MJ was refusing to go out to make the This Is It announcement. That may explain the delayed hours and possible double being used. I think that might have been why they actually took 9 hours to get there, because he probably was refusing to do it. Because in all honesty, from my personal opinion, and this is not through research, you can see that he was happy to see the fans, but he didn't look like he wanted to be there at all. I'm sorry, you can't fake that sort of emotion. I'm sorry, you can't fake that. And me as an MJ fan, I recognize the real MJ from any impersonator any day of the week. I will never be fooled and be told Michael Jackson is someone else or someone else is Michael Jackson. I've never, ever, ever, ever believed that Barry Shaw or whoever this guy was MJ, period. But I mean, it was discussed with me, and of course, people discuss these things with me, and I just agree, in conversation, or we talk about it, because, we agree to disagree. We all have our opinions and what we feel on different topics. But this particular topic, I didn't feel was anyone outside of it being Michael Jackson. Because why would Michael Jackson have Barry Shaw in the window with his children? I mean, MJ, like, we know he used doubles. I get that part. But the part that I don't get is, why would he have eventually given up that one last chance to speak to his fans? Because there was no real chance to see his fans ever again. Think about it, guys. Like, if he was there on that stage, being that some of you don't think it was him, if he really was there that day on that stage, he chose to be there to actually say goodbye to the fans. He didn't show up there just to say this was it for the concerts. He was saying this was it, period, as in you guys aren't going to see me anymore. I'm not going to be around. And he didn't mean it in the fact that, oh, I'm going to die. He means that I'm giving up. Music is done. Yeah. I need a normal life. I'm done. This is it. This is the finale of anything that I've ever done career-wise. I need a normal life. I need a sense of normalcy. I need my privacy. How many songs have he written about his privacy being violated? And then the one song in particular was privacy itself. Like, the man never had not 1 ounce of privacy. He couldn't take a piss without having a security guard next to him. Like, what kind of light is that? Like, it doesn't make sense. I was told MJ was drunk at the O2 Arena speech. Must say he was behaving differently. His actions, etc. With the salute, I've never seen him do that before. I mean, people do change over time. I mean, look where he was all of those years. I mean, he disappeared after the 2005 trial, and he went to Bahrain, and then from Bahrain, he went to Ireland, and from Ireland, he went to right back to Los Angeles. So he was all over the place because he just wanted to be alone. He wasn't trying to be around anybody. He just wanted to be alone. But then, of course, him having financial issues, quote unquote, he needed some sort of financial assistance, which is why he ended up in the deal with this concert. He seemed as though he'd been kept away and just got freed. He was just so safe with fans. Then he was dealing with the accusations. Exactly. Think about, like Ebony said, like, all the accusations he's dealt with over the years. After a while, I would have been done too. After all that he's been put through, and God forbid, I don't even want to put this out there, people are lucky that this man was not suicidal. How many people can handle 1 million and more coming at you, attacking you daily, lying on you, and saying that you hurt people? Nobody. None of us can handle that. None of us can handle that. I'm sorry. Because I couldn't even handle one person bashing me and accusing me of taking somebody's song. What did I do? I raised holy hell, because I can't take that sort of thing, being lied on and having stories made up on me, or made up, period. It's utterly ridiculous. So, of course, I would honestly go to hell off, or either just, I'm sorry. He saw it differently. He had more people after him in a sense where it was such disrespectful to the point, I don't know how he handled it mentally. No one could actually do that. That's why I would never want to be famous. Not just because the industry itself is satanic, but to just deal with what he went through is like ridiculous. And they pick and choose which celebrities they do this to. and he was one of the main targets. It's ridiculous. They did it to him. They did it to Mariah Carey and played around with her, tried to say that she was mentally ill and saying that she was out of her mind and crazy. And they literally bashed her a lot too, but not as much as him. Yeah, he had so many people coming at him from everywhere. But Dove, where are you? You still here with me?
Yeah, I'm listening. I was waiting for you to to finish your part so I can hop in.
No, you can hop in at any time. You already know that.
Yeah, but I want to stay polite. I'm a lady. I'm not a gentleman, but I'm a lady. I'm joking, but but yeah, to come back on. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. Okay, so people are saying you look kind of different. I actually saw MJ in one or two videos doing the exact. I'm sorry for saying this that way, but it's the only way to describe it. The pimp walk. I saw him do that before in other videos. Other footage, not at concerts or anything or press conferences.
Right.
But getting to the car or his limousine or whatever, I did see him walk that way. He just had that, that poppy swagger sometimes. I bet he just felt good.
She said the poppy swag.
Yeah, it's a poppy swag. He's a poppy. Yeah, I'm sure. Most of you agree with me. And his teeth look funny. His nose looked freaky. His face was different. He was 50. He's not the same Michael Jackson that we are used to see, like in the bad era or the other eras way before that. People have to realize that people change over time. Also, remember, he had the Pepsi burn. He had the back injuries. His legs were hurt. The dancing, the physical, just strain on his body. The lupus, the vitiligo. Do I have to go on, guys? Really? And I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm not being mean. I'm just reminding you guys. Just rewind a little bit back before judging whatever you saw. Yes, he was different, and maybe he took a little sip of something. Wouldn't you? I mean, come on.
And he did like his wine.
In his juice. Yeah, exactly. His Jesus juice, But I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Wouldn't you pop a bottle before going on stage if you would get attacked by millions and millions of people and having that stress on you? Mind you, that he was dealing with this stress since he was 5, up to his 50s. That's 45 years. That's a long ass time. I'm sorry. That's a long ass time. And then add to it all the false accusations, all the people, stabbing him in his back. Who was there for Michael at the 2005 thing? Only Tom Mazzarell, his family, Chris Tucker, and Macaulay Culkin. Where were the rest of his quote-unquote friends? Nobody was there. So Michael was hurt. And he was never to be the same person again. I mean, would any of you be the same person after all of this happens to you? Just imagine that for only 1 second. All right, I'm done. You go.
Oh my goodness. No, but like you were saying, it's like people do change over time, and even I've changed over time. Like, it's so many different things that I do now versus what I did then. I mean, now, think about this. People change. Like, for those of you who followed my channel for 11 years, all people were surprised, like, oh my God, he's talking in his videos now. Is that not a part of change? I wasn't into talking or showing my face. I hid my face for almost all the years that I made videos for YouTube. I never spoke or let anyone see me because why? I was shy. But people change. I changed and now I'm outspoken. I speak a little more. I show myself on camera. I actually speak in my videos. I don't hide myself anymore. I jumped on social media last year. I stopped hiding myself, and that's a part of change. That's why I'm like, people do change. And I'm not saying my changes have anything to do with any reflection of MJ's. It's just to point out people change. I was not this person that you guys hear now speaking on this particular episode right now. Like, I was not this person 10 years ago when I started making these videos and doing this research. I was too shy to even record. Even though people rarely recorded then, it wasn't many YouTubers that researched the hoax that actually did record. All of us was doing text-based videos, but however, I was too shy to actually record. I was too shy to actually show my face to any of my fans. Over the years, I would always get people messaging when YouTube actually allowed you to message, oh, how come you don't show your face on camera? How come you don't show your fans what you look like? Like, a lot of them that did used to message me back then are still following me to this day and see that I evolutionized myself pretty much. It's called evolution. I pretty much have grown up. 10 years has went by and you guys didn't get to see me. You guys didn't get to hear me. But here I am. That's about change, guys, and I actually did change. And MJ could change too, and I don't know why that can't be accepted. I mean, change is something that's acceptable in all of our lives. We all change at some point. Some of us go from crazy to sane. Some of us go to poor to rich. It's all about the circle of change. We all change, people. And that's something that we can't actually avoid. Change is part of the quote-unquote inevitable. He tried to make fans his friends.
Yeah, you're right about that. And
What are you saying?
Oh, no, I was saying that, change is a part of life and part of growing as a person. And like you said, why can't it be accepted for, regular people or other celebrities? But when it comes to MJ, everything is so blown up. Everything is so freaky. Everything is so weird. I'm sorry, I'm going to go a little bit fangirling right now, but
have at it.
Even though Michael was brought at a 5-year-old age to strip club after the girl pulls up her bra and everything, then they went on, or right after.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of us can even relate to that? Nobody. That's not even normal for a 5-year-old to go through. That's why by the time he was old enough to be into girls, quote unquote, he was like, been there, done that. Sorry, bye, Felicia. He was not into that anymore because he already done that. By the time he was 10, he was probably our age, mentally and physically. So he never had a normal life. He got to be the biggest star ever. There's no other entertainer on this planet, and it's not because I'm an MJ fan, but it's just fact. Nobody is able to do and pull off what MJ did. Nobody.
Period.
Nobody did what MJ did. Being the humanitarian, being the philanthropist. Nobody takes sick people or sick children out of the hospital, open the doors to their homes, and actually give them a little bit of magic to even, give them a little bit back of their childhood, which they lose a little because they're fighting cancer at that time, or AIDS at that time, or whatever illness they were going through. And Michael did that.
He damn sure did.
Yeah. Who does that, Daryl? I don't have 20, 40 children up in my house every single day or every single week.
I can't honestly say that
I would definitely would.
I can't say I've actually paid for anyone's cancer treatments or anything of that nature. I didn't take anyone, but however, I have tried to help people. But he's done way more than I ever could for anybody. And I mean, the way he actually is ridiculed and bashed publicly, even though it was seen what he did, nothing he ever did was ever hidden. That was the problem being Michael Jackson. Nothing he ever could do could ever be hidden, even on his own ranch. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had this discussion, Dove, about how people actually violated his privacy on his property.
Yeah.
How not just the
Even
media,
being mean.
and like the media and the
Yeah,
fans
sorry.
was like parachuting onto his property just to try to get a glimpse of him. Now you tell me who can handle seeing someone parachuting from an airplane or a helicopter down to their property? It's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. Having people over, jumping over your fences, just, showing, hi, I'm here. And MJ was like, oh, okay, you're here, welcome. You know, when we would say, no, what the hell are you doing
Security, security.
here? Right, security, get this bug. No, but yeah, that's crazy. And, even Safe Check was mean to animals. He loved his animal. What gives him the audacity to even go outside to, be mean to his animal?
Safe Chuck looks kind
What
of
did
jerky anyway, though. Dove, like you look at him, he look like an asshole. I hate to say it. I don't like to cuss on the podcast, but he look like an asshole.
he does? He is an asshole. He doesn't look like one. He is one.
Well, of course he is for lying on MJ, but that's another story, and we've spoken about that one also before. It's like, how much more can MJ take? Not just from the media, not just from Tome, AEG, management, Sony, all of these different things. I mean, he had so many different worlds colliding with his. And his world wasn't something that he enjoyed anymore because it wasn't private.
Mm-mm.
It's
And he still managed to stay the same humble person, to stay loving and caring, and that's I'm sorry, that's just admirable to me.
I honestly respect MJ a lot though, and that's one of the things that I always have said. I mean, I've showed you guys that I respect MJ. Like a lot of people who have watched my channel, who have followed in the later years, started following me once I started researching his innocence and his legacy, was like, oh my God, you're disgusting. You don't respect MJ. How are you sitting here making videos about him being alive? Because he is alive. He is alive. And I'm not saying I believe it. I know it. It's a different story. Believing is not,
Right.
yeah, believing is something different than knowing. A belief has no bearance on actually knowing something. So I won't refer to myself as someone who believes that. I actually know the difference. So, but anyways, I know for sure that he's alive. I've actually done my research over the years, and there's so many different things that's come up as to why he's still here. And I'm not one of the people who thought that MJ actually did this out of selfish reasons, because and anyone who's listening that's messaged me before, if you've actually said this to me, don't be mad at me for bringing it up. But no, I didn't think that MJ was being selfish for actually faking his death and actually moving on with his life. I don't think he was selfish. Sorry for bringing that up. I don't want you to kick my butt because you message
No,
me all the time. But I don't think he was being
no,
selfish. I don't think he was being
I agree.
selfish when he did that.
Mm-mm.
He never had a chance to
I
actually
told
be by himself. Like you said, Dove, before going, like, he's been doing it since he was 5, and here he is at 50 still trying to do it. I mean, he's never had a break. But anyway, go ahead,
no.
Dove.
I lost it. I don't even know what, what I was gonna say. Oh my god, this is so crazy. To come back on a comment I saw about his family. Everybody has issues in their family. Nobody is 100% with their family at times. We all have to admit that. I argue with my mom. I argue with my son. And after that, if you go off, you just say sorry, I love you. You hug it out, and it's cool. Why is it when it comes to MJ? Oh, he was totally against his brother. He was totally against his uncle. He was totally against his nephew or his cousin. No, everybody has issues. Everybody, everybody has them. Every single one of us on this podcast have skeletons in their closet. Every single one of us. One thing is nobody talks about it because we are not public persons, public people. Since it's MJ we're talking about, not does it only get out there, but it's also being, magnified and even lied on and exaggerated because that sells to the media. Now, do I agree? Yes, probably he did have some issues with, Papa Joe, God rest his soul, with Jermaine, with Randy, maybe, with his other brothers. But he always, was there for his family and his family the other way around. Because when push came to shove, where was his family? Right behind MJ.
That's right.
Where was Joe? Yeah, where was Joe in the 2005 trial? He was holding his son's hand. Now, if a father doesn't love his child, he doesn't hold his hand. He was, squeezing MJ's hand like, I'm here with you. And he squeezed back. So he understood what his father was saying without even having to say the words. Now, if you can tell me right now, that is not family, that is not love, I don't know what is.
Amen.
Yes, we can agree. Yeah, we can agree or disagree that he might have been stern and maybe, I don't like the word abusive, but that's the only kind of way we can describe it. That he was, he was very strict, but he did get his sons and his daughter. Well, we'll just talk about the sons. Where they are right now. They are men because of Joe Jackson. Real men that know the discipline and the love that you need to, keep your family together. To be the person that you need to be. If you want to be a star, you have to bring it the way you should bring it. Or else you're just going to fail trying. And I just think that was his way of making that happen.
You are absolutely right about that. But I honestly will say this, that the way Joe Jackson actually raised his children wasn't no different than what a lot of parents do. We all get spankings. We all have given spankings. It's nothing out of the ordinary. So I'm sorry. I got spanked when I was a child, and I don't find anything that my mother has done to have been abusive at all. Like, some people find spankings, oh my God, that's abuse. Or no, I'm sorry. Some of us kids are bad. Some of us kids don't listen. Some kids will get in trouble for it. And that's the way parents actually do when it comes to disciplining their children. But to say that he abused them because he spanked them, no, he wanted them to be successful. I will say that. And what he did was trained his children to actually show initiative for what they said they wanted to do. Because why? He didn't bring music to them. They brought it to him. They showed him that they had talent and they wanted to do it. And what did he do? He trained them to be the musicians that he knew that they could become. Because why? He himself was a musician and he had that discipline as a musician. He put his career on hold, being that he was trying to release music himself. But he didn't do that because why? He put his children first. And mind you, they were the ones wanting to start this group. They were the ones that actually wanted to sing and do all of this stuff. However, once he made them actually show that they wanted to do it, they felt that he was too tough on them for actually making them do what they started out themselves. Because what were they doing around the house? Singing, dancing, using his instruments without permission. They had their own little band around the house when he wasn't home, having their own little stage acts in the middle of their living room. They wanted to be singers, and they actually always dreamt about being singers, Michael and his brothers. A lot of us have dreamt about being singers, but a lot of us didn't have the same parents that they had to push us to actually do that, or some of us didn't have that drive to actually try to push ourselves to become singers. I wanted to do that, but I didn't have a father to actually do that. I'm sorry, Joe Jackson, to me, is an honorable father to me. he raised his children right, but people try to say it was abuse because, oh, well, Michael, and I will say this, Michael was a lot more sensitive than the rest of his brothers when it came to the spankings because Michael was, what was he, the second youngest child, Dove?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the second youngest,
Yeah.
so him being the baby, he was more sensitive to those things that was going on. Notice how none of the other brothers really have said that same thing. They say, oh yeah, our father spanked us. Oh yeah, our father did that. But it actually made us tougher guys and blah, 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 blah. They've never actually straight up and down said he beat us bloody. Oh, he whelped us up from head to toe. They never made any of those claims. Show me a claim where they actually said that they've been beaten to a bloody pulp. Like, show me that. Because I've never seen it. Someone said it wasn't spanking. He threw him against the wall, whooped him naked, covered him with oil. Just like someone says he kicked MJ in the nuts as well, and MJ can't have kids. And I'm sorry. Then I guess my mother abused me too. I guess that's the case then. Because I've gotten spanked while wet. So I guess I got abused too. And I just don't apparently know how to face it. And I'm not even making jokes about that either, but I honestly see it differently than everybody else. I don't see Joe Jackson as an abuser. And a lot of people have said that over the years, and I still don't see the same thing. Because in the long run, a lot of people have spanked their kids. But the only difference is he spanked his kids to success. He spanked them into the artists that you love today. And you know what? Those artists are still around to this day, the Jacksons. And you know what? We have the second generation Jacksons now who are out there releasing music. Because why? If Joe Jackson didn't show that initiative to his children that he wanted them to become successful and they didn't give that back to him, then there wouldn't be the current set of Jacksons we have out now releasing music and doing different things. We wouldn't know the 3Ts. We wouldn't know Your Majesty Jackson, or we wouldn't know any of the other Jacksons like Brandy or Siggy or any of them. We wouldn't know who they are. We wouldn't know them. You got spanked. His Poetic says, I got spanked and I don't have $1 million in my bank account. Were you trying to become a singer, Poetic?
Well,
Oh,
MD
man.
says he called him ugly. How do you call that? I agree. He maybe did make fun of MJ and of his nose and oh you are ugly and you're not that black on my part of the family. You must have gotten that from your mother and etc. etc. But I don't know. I don't know. I do feel sorry because Michael obviously was, you know, had a low self esteem. It was never enough. He never looked good enough for himself, to himself.
Right.
But maybe that was his own perspective of himself. We all have flaws. We all get, you know, how do you say that? When you're not sure about yourself, you get insecure about yourself sometimes.
Right.
Maybe you have a little bit. Yeah, maybe you're overweight. Maybe you're a redhead. Maybe you have crooked teeth. Maybe you have to wear glasses. I don't care. Everybody has insecurities, and maybe that was MJ himself. And maybe Joe did say those things to him, but maybe not in that way. Maybe he just wanted his son to be the person that he needed to be, because to be the big artist that MJ is, you need to be a strong person. You need to show yourself and give the best you have. Otherwise, people are not going to be the fans that they are right now, because it's going back again, and I'm sorry if I bore you guys, but it's going back again to MJ being the entertainer that he is. Maybe if he wouldn't have gotten all those, maybe even positive critiques from his father or from his family, he wouldn't be the entertainer that he is. He wouldn't be the person that he is, because Michael is very sensitive and very loving and very caring. But he said it himself, he has rhino skin as well. So he is a strong person because it takes a lot, and it takes a strong person to deal with all of this crap and still own the magic and the light and the essence of your soul or of your being. Am I making sense?
Plenty of it.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's go to our chat and see what's going on here. MD Love says, anyway, Michael forgave him, so who are we to judge? Exactly. But I mean, in the long run, Michael was a lot more sensitive than the rest of his brothers, as you do know. And that sensitivity that he gained during childhood actually carried into adulthood as well. But however, despite being sensitive, he was a strong individual, because if he wasn't a strong individual, as Dove said, he wouldn't have been able to handle what he handled up until he couldn't handle it no more. That's when it actually showed that he did have a fragile side, and eventually he needed a break from all of this stuff. I mean, 45 years? Come on. It's a long time, and it was a long time coming that he eventually said this was it. And we didn't expect it, but he did let us know it. I've seen Michael Joe used to grease them up, make them strip naked, and whip them. That's cruel, but he forgave Joe. That's a mean thing. That is just tagging about. Wow. I mean, I've heard stuff regarding the spankings that he gave them, but I mean, I don't say that that was abusive, because you forget they also lived in a different time era than we did. Back then, that was the way people spanked their children. It's a difference between then and now. People just will now, per se, spank their kid with their hand or whatever the case. I don't know how people, but back then, in the 50s and before the 50s, they spanked their kids with whatever they could actually pick up. But not in the sense that they were trying to kill them. They was trying to make a point. But I know all about that because my grandmother had shared plenty of stories with me about growing up in the South and how she used to get spanked. And she was born in the 30s. So I understand what he went through her, because I know that those sort of spankings that parents did give back in those days, especially he was born 1958. That's still around this, that's literally within the same era where parents were still giving their kids those sort of spankings, not realizing they might have hurt them, but in the long run, they were disciplining them, and that was the way they disciplined them then, although it was harsh. I won't deny that it wasn't harsh. But however, that was how they actually disciplined their children. And if you remember a line that Joe Jackson said when he was spanking his kids in a movie, he said, "This is the only way I know how," because that's the way he was raised. Not only that, like, I didn't see who actually posted it, but I seen someone post down in the comments section that Joe Jackson also had to help raise his brothers and sisters. He was being a father to his siblings before he was even a father himself. It's like he had to grow up fast.
Yeah.
So it's like growing up fast was something that came natural with being a Jackson, because Joe Jackson himself had to grow up fast, helping raise his brothers and sisters. I had to grow up fast helping raise my brother. So it's like, I know how it is. I know how it is. Sometimes the child will become the adult, and then the adult will end up having to become a child all over again.
Yeah. So it is kind of sad, but it saddens you to know that he went through all of that, and his brothers and sisters as well, because it wasn't just MJ. And we all know Mama Jackson went through her part of the family drama, everything she dealt with, and still is dealing with to this day. Keeping the family together, of the whole Jackson family right now. She's holding it together, and just seeing how Paris, Prince, and BG have turned out just shows you that the not the discipline, but the love and the values that they got from the whole family, not just MJ, shows you that they were brought up right.
Amanda says Michael was strong mentally, very sensitive, very misunderstood. Just hope he's very happy now, free at last from all the BS he endured. They all turned out well, so Joe did something right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, in the long run, Joe did do something right for his children. I mean, no matter how we feel, Joe Jackson and his family are set. They actually did the right thing. They are now the most successful family in the world. I mean, the Jacksons. This is the Jacksons we're talking about. I mean, Joe Jackson, like, to me, was the best manager that they could have had. Because why? He got them where they needed to be, and then they got themselves even further once they were older. He helped them understand what they didn't understand as kids when they were trying to be musicians in their living room. He was an actual musician, and he trained them. He was kind of like, what would I call it? Or what do they call it? A drill sergeant? Like, he was like a drill sergeant. And he actually pushed them and really pushed to make sure that they got every dance step down packed without messing up. Every lyric, every note on key without messing up. Like the one time that they did get in trouble, and I do remember this story that someone did share with me, was the story where they went to go perform the Star Spangled Banner, and Joe Jackson was upset with the performance because it didn't sound as good as it could have been. He was upset with that, but did he spank them for it? No. He didn't whoop them for that. Like, come on, he didn't hit them for every damn thing. I mean, damn. Oh, yes, an impeccable father, but quite strict. Like, I wish I honestly got... Then again, I don't. Because I heard my father was a lot like Joe Jackson. He was very stern and strict. I mean, I had him in my life the first couple of years, and then him and I really didn't deal with each other until adulthood. So, you know, it's... But I heard he was a lot like Joe Jackson and very strict. Very, very, very strict. And I can't say, honestly, that I would have probably been mentally strong to handle it. I can't say that. But I can't say that if I did something wrong and I actually needed to be spanked, and I got spanked for it, I can't say I was abused. Because I used to do so much bad stuff, so I can't even excuse it.
And you learned your lesson, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, there you go.
I learned my lesson big time.
Yeah, it's a different era, though. That's maybe why most people might not understand all of this. We are raised in a different era right now. We can't even, give our kids a little tap on the shoulder or on the hand or whatever, because your ass gets sued.
Or in trouble,
for child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Well, that's again talking about the same subject. It's all change. The world evolves and everything evolves with it. So it's just part of life, and we only know what we know because of the research that we've done, or the things that we've heard, or the movies that have been brought out, or the documentaries, or whatever. But the only ones who really, really, really know what happened in that house are the Jacksons themselves.
Right.
We can't say, oh, I know, because I have this and this and this. Were you there? No. So if we don't see, we don't know. It's exactly the same thing with this whole hoax stuff. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody, but to me, it's kind of like believing in God. Do you see God? No, you don't see him. Do you believe in him? You have a choice, yes or no. The same thing is with the hoax. Do you believe MJ is alive? Yes or no. That's a choice. But you don't see him actually physically here because he had to go.
Exactly. April says true, and that's why the kids now aren't respectful. Yes, I said it. It's true. We can't discipline them the way that we were. It's true. Because I will say the one thing now The generation now is a lot different than the generation I was raised with. We didn't have as many incidents as the kids nowadays. I mean, where I live currently, you can tell disciplined kids versus the undisciplined kids. The undisciplined kids are running around, robbing and beating people up where I live constantly, and they're kids. These are kids. These are children. That's why I say I don't see anything wrong with parents disciplining their children. But however, there are laws nowadays that prevents parents from being parents. And now it allows the children to actually grow up and do whatever the hell they want. And sometimes it's not good what a lot of the kids are doing. And it's scary. And I don't know, Dove, if you saw a video, I had sent it to you maybe a week ago, of a girl in my neighborhood that lives literally one block from where I live that was literally beaten by about 9 other kids. And I said, obviously, those kids are bad and undisciplined, and I'm not judging the parents, but it's not their fault, because why? Disciplining your kids nowadays will get you in trouble. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you for that. She said my mom spanked us hard in the 60s. That's the way it was then, because the 60s isn't much far from the year 1958. So think about that one. MJ actually lived in the 60s. So Pam, you would know firsthand, like back then, they would spank their kids pretty hard. But in the long run, you don't see anyone from that era, especially from the Jackson family, that is dead or per se in jail. You don't hear about Jackson family members getting locked up or anything of that nature either. Not often, because you all know I'm a... Wow. We got a paddle in school for whispering and... Oh my God, really? Wow. She said a paddle? I remember the ruler, like a teacher would pop you on the hand with the ruler, and I got mad and told my mom. She said, well, that's what you get, because you're supposed to be sitting down and paying attention. Growing up, I appreciate that my mom actually put me in my place and let me know right from wrong, because other than that, I might not be as successful as a Jackson in the sense of monetary needs, but when it comes to moral consciousness, I have that. And, I don't carry myself in a sense where I'm going to have myself into trouble. And you don't see any of the Jacksons in trouble. So you know that they were obviously raised right. Oh my God. Paddled for chewing gum in school. Wow, really, Pam? You should have spit that gum out. You should not have been chewing it in class. You knew better.
Yeah.
Oh
but
my goodness.
That's the lack of respect that there's nowadays as well. It shows.
Yeah, it does.
The younger generations do not show respect toward elders or elderly people, or ill people, or just kids or whatever. Just the other day, I saw a little bitty kid. Like, he was like maybe 10 or 11, my son's age. He was on his cell phone. One, he had a cigarette in his hand.
Wow.
And he had this big ass hickey on his neck. I was like, what?
Wow.
If that was my... Ooh, I would have gone cray. I swear to God. If that was my son.
Oh, man. I don't think I would have been able to stomach that. I would have been like, are you kidding me? At 11 years old, what the heck do you know about a hickey and a cigarette?
Yeah, and talking on the phone like he was this real big VIP Mac Daddy. I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. Suzanne Clark says...
That's crazy, and it's scary because, yeah.
Oh, wow. She says, in my country, we call that king child. They never say no to their child, so older they are confronted with frustration. Oh, wow. No, but Dove,
frustration.
Let me ask you,
yeah.
Now, I'm going to put this up on the screen. Okay. Now, as for next week's episode and our interview with Fawn Chris, do you think that they're really ready for what he has to say?
Whew. I know we weren't ready until we got into the whole story, because This man, you guys, this Pancras, sorry.
Yes.
He has a way of telling his experience, and he literally physically takes you right there. It's like you're imagining it. You know, like you're right there at the O2 Arena back in 2005. It's really, really, really amazing. Just everything around it. So I hope you guys are ready.
Like, during the interview, I got kind of quiet on him, and so did you, because we were really ingrained in the story of what he was telling us. It was just that amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had mentioned earlier on in the podcast, and we're not going to go into detail about this episode that's coming, but he did let us know, and he did say publicly that before MJ actually got there, it took 9 hours for him to arrive, and he must have gotten to see a lot during that 9 hours, and then during the press conference, which was about 5 to 10 minutes, and in that 5 to 10 minutes, it said a lot, and he had a lot to say about it. So we are definitely ready for his interview release. I definitely can't wait. I'm just so happy to know that we got him to be on the podcast, and this one is really it. I mean, this is it.
The final curtain call, guys. We did this one, and we have the next podcast coming up, and that will be it on the end of. Actually, this is it alive. What comes after, I don't know. Surprise, surprise.
And it's crazy. Our three projects that we working on pretty much is the This Is It 7. Then we had this podcast, and now the Fawn Christ interview, which is coming next week.
Mm-hmm.
3 things regarding This Is It. So it's like this is it. That's why I keep writing this is it, because all of our next couple of videos are all This Is It based. It is. Yeah, and it really is something. It's something good. Major. Did you guys understand everything that was shown in this video? Like, did you really understand the message and what exactly was behind it all? So far, it's so. Oh, she's not speaking to us. Thought she was talking to us. No, but I'm ready for this video, and I can't wait to actually put it out. I really can't. He gave an amazing interview, and I just can't wait for you guys to see it. I mean, I'm not going to spill much detail about it because I want you guys to be surprised about what you hear. And what you hear is going to be... it's going to make you happy. And it's going to confirm exactly what we said, that MJ is definitely the one that was there at the O2 Arena press conference. Because we're getting a first-hand account from someone that actually was there. So I definitely cannot wait to share this with you guys. The video may contain suggestive themes, graphic images, and triggering topics. What she said? She said, I want to see it now. Video is for strict. I would love to share that now. Purposes only. I would love to share it now, trust me. But we have a schedule, and our next scheduled podcast is next Saturday, so that's when it'll be coming, guys. I cannot wait. So that's March 28th. But do you guys have any more for us before we wrap up this podcast? Any questions? Anything you guys want to say? Any shout outs? MJ with the fist at the end before walking off stage reminded me of the Statue of Liberty. Just a thought. And the Statue of Liberty, which is in my city, shout out to the Statue of Liberty. That sounds funny, shouting out the Statue of Liberty. But yeah, the Statue of Liberty is a sign of freedom. So that's a good observation there. I'm hurting so bad I could chew nails and spit them out and build something. Oh, wow. And build something. Oh, my God. You'll be here, Poetic. I know you'll be here. You're always here for the live, so I know you'll be here. You'll be good. One of my bad traits, very impatient, trying to work on it, failing so far. Oh, I know that. Like, trust me, I'm very impatient. I'm like, oh my God, I want to be finished with this. Oh my God, I want to do this. I want to do that. And I'll be impatient at everything that I do. Everyone stay safe from this virus. Oh, Yes, mention that as well. Stay safe, everyone. I'm sorry we didn't even mention the virus the entire time, but
stay safe,
stay
stay
safe,
home.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's very important during these troubling times with this coronavirus. But yep, guys, if you have
But
nothing else, oh, what was you gonna say, Dove?
yeah, I did. No, I didn't get my answer. If everybody understood what was behind this whole video, what the message was, what it all meant, and how MJ felt, and everything that was going on. And if you guys, and if you're up for it, Daryl, we can have like a quick Q&A if you guys have any, personal questions towards us or whatever. This is your chance. I'm not saying it again.
I think you're seeing us up for the next one. Oh, I think you're setting. Yep, we're setting this up for the next one. Yep, that's exactly it. That's why within the This Is It 7 project, we did mention the footage from Von Chris video that he has posted on his own channel, which you guys can check out. You can see it in the description box of the video that I posted earlier today. Also, this is tied to what he has to say come next week. So that footage definitely has a lot to do with what we actually have coming next week. So be prepared for it.
No, April Willis, much love to your daughter.
Just everyone be safe and know your love. We will get through this. Wash your hands often. Ebony says they're going to stick a Q-tip up y'all nose and hold your breath for 15 seconds. That's one of the tests? Wait, that's how they test for corona?
Wow.
Oh my God. I had no clue.
If you have a question, sorry.
No. It's okay, Dove. You can go ahead. I'm just shocked off of that one. Oh my God. That I didn't know. Did you know that one?
That's crazy, though. No.
Oh my God. Okay, that just got me silent because all I'm picturing is the Q-tip with the long wooden stick at the tip or the end of it, and how long and far that Q-tip goes. Oh no. No, they're gonna have to kill me. Because they ain't sticking no long Q-tip up my nose. Into my nasal cavity? No.
Wow, for 15 seconds. That's a long time for having Q sticks up your nose.
Oh my. I would sneeze.
Q-tip, sorry. Right.
And then they would be nervous because they're like, oh my God, he would sneeze all over us and give us the virus. Oh my God.
You sounded like somebody right now. I'm not even going to say who it is.
Oh God, guys, I don't have corona. I don't have it. Dove Angel, you know I'm well.
You're well? How's your cat?
Dead. My cat's not here anymore.
Oh, you lost MJ the cat. I'm so sorry.
I miss my cat. I do. Oh my God.
And okay, so you guys are all set. Wow, you guys are so smart. I love you for it. They don't have any questions. Wow, we did it.
We did it. Yeah, said we did it. I think. I'm singing the Dora the Explorer theme. Oh man, but if you guys don't have any more for us, we'll probably go on Instagram later and see you guys there. So if you guys are on Instagram, you can see us live probably later today. So what's the plan, Dove? Will we be doing live on Instagram?
Well, I'm just hearing about it now, but
we talked about it. You said you wanted to do it.
I told you, maybe my future husband is watching. I do need to look cute, just in case.
Well, fine. You got it.
Poetic has a question. Okay, go ahead, Poetic.
Oh, man.
Wow, how did I become a fan to both of us? You want to go first?
How did we become a fan of MJ?
No.
or of
What
us.
did she say?
What,
How did you become a fan to both of us? So do you want to go first?
she's talking about MJ, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
I'm so confused. I'm sorry. You got to be reminding me, man. Oh man. But the reason why I first became a fan, well, the very first thing I could say is the first music video that I ever gotten to see by MJ. Even though I was born in the 80s, I didn't listen to Michael Jackson as a kid. What I originally was listening to was Shaka Khan. My grandfather had actually went and brought the Bad album, and this was 1986, and he brought the Bad album and was listening to it, and I don't know, it was just something about when he played Speed Demon, it made me want to dance. And after that, I asked my grandfather about him, and he started telling me about him and the Jackson 5 and everything. And once he told me, he invited me to check out his album collection, and he had all the Jackson albums. I mean, every Jackson album. The original Jackson 5 through the Jackson Victory era, and then through Thriller, Off the Wall. He had everything up into the Bad album. I started going back.
Wow.
Yeah, I started going back, and I ended up going through my grandfather's albums, and I don't know what made me pick Thriller first, but Thriller was the very first album that I actually decided to listen to on my own without my grandfather, and I loved every bit of that album. Then I was introduced to Motown 25. That's what did it all for me. Once my grandfather showed me the Motown 25 VHS tape, I was ecstatic when I saw MJ do the moonwalk there for the first time. That made me, I was like, oh my God, I want to do that too. After that, everything was Michael Jackson to me. And I would listen to him daily, try to dance like him. I even, and this is an embarrassing story, but I would even rip a piece of tissue that kind of looked like MJ's curl in the front of his head and paste it onto the front of my forehead just so I could have that one curl in the front. That's how much I loved MJ as a kid, but that's my introduction to him. Heck yeah, I'm a
Oh,
moonwalker.
that's so cute.
I moonwalk. I can moonwalk good.
Wow.
But what about you, Dove? What made you become a fan?
Well, my story is I saw Moonwalker for the first time when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I think I kind of connect now that I know everything about MJ, about numerology and everything. I was born on April 7th, so I kind of feel connected to him. But I saw Moonwalker for the first time, and when he came out in this white suit and he started dancing, I just fell in love with the guy. And that was it for me. I mean, my whole bedroom walls was just MJ, 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 and that's why that era is my favorite era because he's just so full of energy and full of fire and really pumped up with adrenaline, and it was really, his performances were really powerful back then. And yeah, that's how I became an MJ fan until now that I'm 39, almost 40. So yeah, and now I got a newer generation here. My little kid, my son, he does the moonwalk sometimes. He even tries the lean. He knows some of the songs by heart because I play them over and over and over. So that's on my end.
It's always going to be MJ for me forever, though. I've never
Oh
really,
yeah, for me too.
yeah, like out of all artists, the ones that I listen to all the time is MJ, Aaliyah. I listen to TLC. Like those are my favorite all time artists from the generation of per se the 80s and 90s that I actually grew up with. You would find nothing but Michael, Janet. Yeah, it was Michael, Janet, TLC, because I had Janet's picture with the boobs out and I got in trouble. Yeah, I had that. I had Michael's bad poster. I had Janet's picture from her God, what is the name of the album? I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm like so brain farting right now, guys, so I'm so sorry. But Janet's album cover where she had
You're brain farted.
I can't think of it. I can't think of it. I can't. I don't know what it is right now. Maybe it's me being hot, because it is so hot. It's warm in this house. It's cool outside, so the heat is on. So
It's
I'm like, ugh.
getting hot in here.
She said
So
giraffes
think of all
moonwalk.
your clothes.
Wow.
Giraffes moonwalk. Oh my God.
Wow. I would love to see that one. But all right, guys, we're going to wrap up episode 4 of this podcast. I'm going to have another video coming out for you guys very, very, very soon. It's the Jackson family legacy. It's the story of 3T, so you guys need to be on the lookout for that as well. That's going to be coming very soon. And Dove, do you have anything else you want to say to our viewers before we get off?
Just appreciate you guys for your time, for your support, for your love every single time, for your patience, and for being there every single time. And I hope this is a long-term thing. And please be safe in these times. And much love to you all.
Thank you guys for tuning in today and showing us love. You rode out with us for the last hour on the podcast. You've been rocking out with my channel for a long time, and I do appreciate and respect you all. I respect everything that you guys have given me entertainment-wise, especially when it comes to the comments, because you guys be having me cracking up with some of the things you guys be saying. I be sitting here cracking up on the inside, but I don't want to burst out laughing all the time. It's like, oh my God. You guys, especially the moonwalking giraffe, oh my God. But yeah, guys, like we thank you for tuning into our podcast every week since we've gotten started. And we have so much more coming. And we hope you guys are ready for episode 5 coming March 28th at 12 p.m. EST.
Yes.
Featuring our special guest, Mr. Von Christ. So, yes. Are you ready, Dove?
I am so ready.
Well, good. I'm ready, and I hope you guys are ready too. This is it, and we'll see you March 28th.
Next week.
Next week, guys. See you there.